Bum 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 bum. The Peter Dislike Show. Bum 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 bum. So yesterday, October 24, was kind of an unofficial singles pride day. Polish Idol season one winner or second place winner Evelina Falenta turned 45 years old, and I sometimes think of her birthday as an unofficial holiday for that. It's just before the holiday season. It makes my holiday season seem just a little bit longer because I begin with that. I usually don't end the holiday season until the anniversary of the Challenger and Columbia disasters, right? Usually, so my holiday season is 3 months long when I include these two events, right? Uh, and then there are a few more. We added January 6th a few years ago, right, and a few other things. And but I want to point out that because this year I'm kind of struggling with something. You see, I don't know if it shows when I record these videos, but I have been so lonely and heartbroken. It's one thing to be lonely and heartbroken, but it's quite another to then have physical symptoms from it, right? So, for example, as I record, I have this chronic pain in my chest now. And I know it's from heartbreak because sometimes when I get an occasion to just randomly talk to somebody, whether it be at the library or a colleague that I'm close to, it will relieve that for some time. And so I know it's heartbreak related. Unfortunately, I've been using a lot of substances and soft habits to deal with that. Caffeine, especially. I sometimes day trade on my 401k, and what's the other stuff that and workaholism problems, and to a lesser extent, eating disorder kind of problems. Usually one way or the other, right? Unfortunately, and so and then I have difficulty concentrating. As much as I keep saying that I'm doing some workaholism kind of problems, a lot of times the work turns out wrong. That's the problem. And but then a couple nights ago, I almost got evicted from this home that I share with the landlord and one of my roommates. I was just so distracted. I had used the restroom and I didn't realize it had overflowed. I went back to my room to, I don't know, record Peter Schiff shows, Peter Dislike shows, and do some art projects. And next thing I know, I heard shouting outside of the room. I looked and the owner of this place and my other roommate were cleaning up the disaster, and they told me to just back away from that. You know, they're done with trying to deal with me, and so I I'm just distracted. And this is the kind of time where I wish singles would unite together, right? Imagine if one of my married counterparts, right, who had children, had significant issues, right? Their child was battling COVID, a long COVID kind of issue, or God forbid, right? A lot of things could go wrong with kids, right? Their kids are failing at school. Their kids have a heartbreak issue, right? Even families going through a divorce or something. I think a lot of families would support each other, but singles don't have that kind of camaraderie, right? This is the kind of time where I wish I had somebody cook for me or clean for me, right? But when I apologized to my landlord, I kind of told her that yeah, I'm sorry, I'll pay attention to the toilet, but I or whatever situation may come up, but I've been kind of weighed down with some personal matters, and I left it at that. To her credit, she didn't ask me what the personal problems were. I'm hoping she will figure it out on her own and come to the right conclusion, right? Because personal problems could imply a number of things, right? It could be the heartbreak that I'm dealing with. It could be drug use kind of problems. Although I do kind of have them, right? Not the kind of drugs that most people can relate to. That's the funniest part of it all, right? And so, but I've been having difficulty networking with people here. 14 years ago, I almost dropped out of school. I was working on my PhD for more or less the same kind of problems. Kind of funny because 14 years ago, I was neglecting schoolwork when I was heartbroken. nowadays I'm overdoing my job to the point that I'm being distracted by other stuff. Although I got to be careful though, because if I lose my home, all that good progress I'm making with work probably will also dissipate. So I got to be careful. I can't take it that far, right? But you know what? After I had apologized to the owner, I went to roomies.com to look at other potential housing options, and it made me feel okay. And it made me feel stronger when I negotiated here. I got to put negotiation in quotes because I've tried to fix things up here, and and I you should be living in a hotel room. No, I mean I do get along with people for the most part. Lately, I've just been highly distracted by what has been going on. I've been having difficulty networking with people. I never thought, I never thought simply being lonely could cause physical illness. I never thought that. This is a first time for me. I don't know if it's a sign of my age or whatever situation. I've been lonely before. I've been even more lonely than today before. I never felt physically ill from it. Oh man, so I went to measure my blood pressure today when I was at the store, and it wasn't that bad. I wonder what it'd be like. Imagine if I got into a situation today that would call for me to take a polygraph exam. I would probably look really funny, and I would imagine, right? I can only imagine what that might look like. All right, please continue to pray for me by leaving a Peter disc. There's one more thing that's been weighing heavily on me. I love the Peter Schiff show, but he stopped singing the Peter Schiff jingle, and it just hurts because I really love that jingle. And I know it's a silly thing, but it's the only thing keeping me together these days. You know, when COVID first broke out, the very first video I turned on was a Peter shit show, and everything was off, right? The library was closed. My favorite restaurant was closed. What used to be a 24-hour grocery store was now only open 16 hours. And when I turned on the Peter Schiff show and he went bum, 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 it gave me a nice, warm, fuzzy feeling that at least one thing hasn't changed. I know it sounds kind of funny. This is the Peter Dislike Show. Bum, 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 bum. The Peter Dislike Show. Bum, 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 bum. Bum 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 bum. The Peter Dislike Show. Bum 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 bum.